The other day I had something of a minor epiphany, a flash of insight. It might seem inconsequential to you, but it struck me that postcards are in danger of disappearing. I don't mean the kind you buy in the post office, but the postcards you used to see filling the racks in corner cafes and drugstores. Even the racks are mostly gone. The postcards in those racks would be some of the most treasured sights you were likely to see in whatever city or village or town you happen to be. Now, I tested my insight with members of my own family in a kind of impromptu focus group as we gathered for food and something to drink at the Benson Hotel after last Friday evening's tree lighting in Pioneer Courthouse Square. And there was a general agreement that except for one daughter who was holding out for postcards, no one had sent or received postcards recently, although all were extensive travelers. Instead, Instagram and Facebook postings had replaced the simple cards that used to be sent to loved ones, to family, and to friends, from wherever it happened to be. Often arriving, I should add, days or even weeks after the sender had placed them in the mail. But postcards, at least for me, did something no other form of communication has done since then. It captured a slice of the experience of a place, and it was sent to someone I love. And on it was a personal note, something I wrote with my own hand. And it was to draw them into my life and to keep them close, even while we were distant one from another. To put it quite simply, postcards were about love shared and love received. And so these postcards would be saved, perhaps propped up on a dresser, tacked to a corkboard, where they would remain, sometimes for years. Postcards were tangible tokens of love. This epiphany reminded me the last time I thought about postcards was about a decade ago. I don't think about them too much. But this is a time when they still have some currency. And I've just been to see the most recent screen adaptation of my favorite novel, a novel William Faulkner once described as the best novel ever written. That novel is the soaring epic of the late Imperial Russia, Anna Karenina, by Leo Tolstoy. Well, while the film was largely disappointing, something happened as I was leaving the theater. As I made my way to the exit, I discovered an oversized cardboard display. It was promoting the film I had just seen, and the display itself was something of a marketer's dream. You walked up, and you quickly discovered, surrounding a central scene from the film, there were pockets holding postcards. Postcards with images of the various characters in the film, alone and in combination, the lovers and the left behind, the betrayers and the betrayed. At the top of each postcard was a quote from Tolstoy. "There are as many loves as there are hearts." Not bad. And then across the images were large words appropriately matched to the characters, describing the varied loves portrayed in the film. Romantic love, maternal love, scandalous love, enduring love, pure love, nurturing love, forbidden love, dutiful love. I suppose it was hoped that if you would take the cards with you and let a family member or close friend know how much you enjoyed the film, they would have served their purpose. But then again, which card would you choose? Would you send them pure love, forbidden love, dutiful love? And what message would your choice reveal to the recipient? Well, I have to confess, I was mesmerized by this little collection of loves, and I walked away with a complete set. But I never sent a single card. But thinking about postcards as tangible expressions of love, as a kind of holy card, if you will, a simple icon of love that helps me think about this particular Sunday. A day that we find embedded in our season of extended Advent, a day known as the Feast of Christ the King, or more recently by some as the Reign of Divine Love. However known, this is a day for visionaries, people who look at the big picture, the large horizon. Those with an awakened imagination who want to catch a glimpse of just what it might look like to see the dream of God fully realized in human life. On this day, the story of faith is brought future forward. The Roman Catholic tradition, the day is regarded as a solemnity. It reflects the synthesis, the bringing together of the entire sacred and saving mystery. And the readings for the day are truly cinematic if you listen to them. And if you didn't, take your leaflet home and reread them. The readings give us a clue that this is no ordinary Sunday, where we're given some stories of practical wisdom, some of Jesus' teaching, or maybe a scene or an episode from the life of the Christ. Today's lessons are triumphal and paradoxical. In our reading from the book of the Revelation, we receive a succession of arresting images in which the Son of Man comes in the clouds of heaven, receiving everlasting dominion, glory, and kingship. And then we come to John's Gospel, and we're taken to a very different scene with a very different mood. In the director's cut given by the lectionary editors, we have a sense from that final chapter, a scene from that final chapter of Jesus' earthly life, from the time of Jesus' trial before Pilate, just before he offers up his life on the cross. Jesus has been brought before that representative of Rome, and we see Jesus and Pilate engaging in a conversation about kings and kingdoms. Jesus finally declares, "For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone who belongs to the truth belongs to me, and who has heard my voice." If the scene from John could be captured on a postcard, I think the card would have to be described as not simply a postcard, but a postcard from the edge. Jesus, about to offer his life on the cross, points beyond this moment to the larger truth of God. And so I think this postcard has to be seen as a kind of love postcard. And if you carefully read John's Gospel, you'll have learned that this is the truth that John has been speaking about all along, the truth that can only be found in a love story. And part of this truth is no better captured in words that are as familiar to you as they are to most anyone who's come even close to a church, from the 3rd chapter of John's Gospel. God so loved the world that God gave God's only Son. You see, unlike any of the postcards we may ever have received from a loved one, or one of the cards from my movie collection, this postcard from the edge is a postcard directly from the divine heart. But coming just before Jesus is sentenced to death, this love postcard carries an image. But the image is the image of a cross. And any words that might be found on this card, instead of pure or dutiful, we might find the word sacrificial. Not an easy word for us to wrestle with, but a number of years ago I heard one of my teachers, theologian and psychologist James Loder, describing the goal of what God is trying to do within us is simply this: to be able to give love sacrificially with integrity. To give love sacrificially with integrity. Sacrificially because the love we're called upon to give is not a need-driven love, but gift-given love. And this love has integrity because it's an honest, truthful, authentic love. We all know there are many forms of love, but love as offering is the defining love of the reign of God. Learning to love in this way is not an easy task. Anyone who's tried it can tell you that. It requires all that we have within us, and there will be setbacks along the way. And we may become resentful when our offering of sacrificial love is not graciously received or accepted. We may wonder whether anyone has the slightest idea what we're trying to do. That's why the book of Revelation reminds us in today's reading that we've been made into a kingdom of priests. Think about it as a community of lovers, those called to make our sacrificial offering to the world. And so what we've been given here at St. Gabriel's is a community of priests, if you will, offering up love to our world. So what would it look like for us to send postcards of sacrificial love out into the world? Well, it seems to me we would be relentless in our witness to injustices in our world, to the disparities, the discriminations faced by so many around us. We would be constant in our commitment to peacemaking and reconciliation, whether in our families, the circles within which we travel, our neighborhoods, the church, the workplace, or to be witnesses to those in positions of power and influence in our world. For without a deep and passionate commitment to the work of justice, to peace, and to reconciliation, we have no future. We can see these postcards of sacrificial love written even now by people of faith in the Middle East, in the Sudan, in the fire and earthquake-devastated regions of our own country. The saints of our time, both known and unknown, have helped to point the way for us. And if you need a visual image of this dynamic movement of love from God through us to the world, my friend Ed Bacon has written a book. It's called The 8 Habits of Love, where he begins by taking us to the Holy Land. And for anyone who's been there, it's a familiar image. The mighty Jordan River, he writes, meanders along the eastern border of Israel-Palestine, giving life to 2 bodies of water, the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea. The Sea of Galilee teems with life. Everywhere you look, there is vitality. On the water, people are fishing, boating, water skiing. On the banks, people are relaxing, eating and drinking. Everyone is enjoying themselves. 65 miles to the south lies the Dead Sea, and it's just that, dead. The reason for this is simple. The Jordan River flows both into and out of the beautiful and vibrant Sea of Galilee. Inflow and outflow. Inhale and exhale. Receiving and giving. From the southern banks of the Sea of Galilee, the river makes its way into the Dead Sea. But there, the river stops. There is no outflow from the Dead Sea. And then Ed Bacon goes on to make this observation. He said, the human spirit, just like the sea, needs both inflow and outflow in order to foster life and to create energy. When love flows out from within us, more flows in. When we open our hearts to love, we not only spread that love to others, but open ourselves to receiving love from others. Our outflow determines our inflow. The more we give, the more vital our lives. The bigger our spirits, the deeper we become. You see, in baptism, we've been claimed as God's beloved. That's our deepest identity. We who have been loved. And as we have been loved, we're able to begin this movement. A movement like a river of love, a river of life that can flow into us and through us. Perhaps it's fallen out of fashion to send cards printed on glossy paper stock, but our world longs to receive the postcards we write with our lives. What then are the postcards we can send? You and I. Postcards from the edge. Living postcards to the world.